Hi everyone, thank you for having me. You've seen a lot of Ethereum contracts and probably a fair share of mentions about Bitcoin, etc. Well, I didn't come across any talks about the XRP ledger. Most people probably know the company behind it, Ripple. They've either heard it's a scam or it's centralized or whatever it is. I'm not going to talk about all the political stuff surrounding it, all the controversial stuff. I'm going to talk about XRP, the cryptocurrency, and there's even some discussion about XRP. Is it a cryptocurrency? I believe it is. It uses all the fundamentals regarding blocks and blockchain signing, next block, etc., ledger closes. And I only came across XRP somewhere in 2016, actually, by a YouTube video by David Schwartz, Joel Katz, on Twitter, and he's the cryptographer at Ripple, and he got me a bit interested. I've had some Bitcoin before in 2011, just mining on the home computer, and it was really easy. You had a few Bitcoin in a few weeks, and I sold them all at $200, never looked back, and that was that. Yeah. So not really into blockchain at that moment, but as I said, 2016 I saw something about Ripple, Ripple the company, and XRP the cryptocurrency, well, I was quite interested because they created a technical stack that made it really easy for, let's say, web developers to just plug in and start coding. And well, coding is my background. I started coding age 11, 12, started a software company age 16, decided to drop out of the University of Amsterdam after just 3 weeks to continue running a software company. Did so ever since, and my software company does nothing with blockchain. So I don't make a living or even earn money using something in the blockchain or XRP community or business. It's a hobby, but a very time-consuming hobby, and it's a lot of fun if you have a web development background and you can just plug in and start coding. So I skipped this already. So what drew my attention to Ripple is it was actually the first blockchain solution where there was a real company. They have a market. They want to serve this market with their software product, and their software product uses the XRP blockchain. They have real customers or pilot customers, and it was just different. It wasn't anarchy. Let's kill all the banks. They're actually wanting to help the banks be more efficient. By using their software, and they have a few stages for banks or financial institutions. The first stages aren't involving blockchain or the XRP ledger, but if you want to save money and settle transactions across the world very fast, they can use XRP. But well, then you're going to to their business and speculation, etc. I'm not interested in that as well. I'm just looking for the technical side of XRP. And from the technical side, and from my perspective, from my background, I noticed XRP is very easy to use. If you're a web developer, it's really fast, it's really cheap. And I think these components, these ingredients, make it a really good suitor for simple solutions, solutions for consumers, for people. And well, one of the questions on Twitter you announced today was how long does it take for an XRP transaction to be 100% definitive? Anyone knows or thinks to know?
1 second. 3 to 4 seconds.
4 seconds. And then the transaction is really definitive. It's not like, let's say, Bitcoin. If you have 51% or more of the hashing power, you can roll back. It's definitive. There's no proof of work on the XRP ledger. There's actually consensus. It's a completely different approach. You can mine it, so a lot of differences, hence the people saying it's not a blockchain. But it's 4 seconds, so as the recipient of a payment, you can be sure the money is in your account and will stay in your account. So 4 seconds, and what I like most about the technical stack of the XRP ledger is when you install RippleD, it's how the server is called, you can install to plug into the blockchain. You can communicate with RippleD using JSON messages. And I don't know, did anyone who programmed JavaScript before? Okay. Well, half of you, around half, who doesn't know what JSON is? Okay, a few. It's a text format to send data from A to B. It's a textual representation of data. So it contains objects and sub-objects, and these objects can contain strings or numbers. You can serialize it and send it somewhere where it can be unserialized. And there's a problem with JSON. It's not deterministic. This means you can create a JSON object starting with name. Name is Wietse, age 30. If you can send exactly the same data by specifying age first. So age 30, name Wietse, same data. But if this is valid and you sign this message, it will generate a different hash. It's, in fact, a different transaction. So the advantage for just the whole world developers, software developers, that JSON is used to communicate with the XRP blockchain through RippleD is actually a nightmare for the developers on the cryptography part of the blockchain, because there needs to be a rule on how all objects and sub-objects and arrays and how all the data needs to be nested and sorted before it can be serialized and signed. And I believe that's the reason why at this moment there's only a decent library by Ripple for JavaScript. So a lot of people writing code in JavaScript, but then again, it's limiting for now. Because if you write Go or Python or whatever, it will become difficult to sign your transactions locally. Some developers are working on this. So I'm going to show you a piece of JavaScript code with the bare minimum requirement to talk to the XRP blockchain. So this code, you can just copy-paste it. I will share it if you want to do anything with it. You can just copy-paste it in your browser, in Chrome, in your console, press enter, and you've set up a connection to the Ripple blockchain. What you're doing is you create a new WebSocket. A WebSocket is a streaming protocol. It's actually HTTP or HTTPS. But it's a connection that stays open. It's not like in your browser, you press enter, the URL will be fetched, all the resources will load, and then it's done. It's a connection that stays open. So you can transmit messages to the server, and the server can transmit messages to you. We open a WebSocket to one of the public RippleD servers where the entire blockchain is operating. The XRP ledger is over there, and we say if the connection opens, if we receive a message, I want to parse the message data as JSON. So I want to go back from a string to an object. And then I'm going to send the stringified version. So here is a piece of JSON, and I'm going to convert it to a string. And I'm going to subscribe to the stream transactions. And this is just one example. I'm going to show you a lot more examples. This is a really easy example. The command is specified by Ripple. It's in the docs. And I subscribe to the transaction stream. So this will mean if I paste these few lines in my Google Chrome console on a normal computer, no software installed whatsoever, every 4 seconds, you will see all the transactions on the XRP ledger streaming through your console. Well, this was 2016. I pasted this in my console, pressed enter, so all the transactions streaming through. I tweaked the code a little bit to sign a transaction, submit it, and I transferred value from one wallet to another wallet. Actually, on the XRP ledger, they're called accounts. So from one account to another account in 4 seconds in my browser, no software installed. And well, it was a cool moment. So I decided to look into it more and discover everything about RippleD from the server side, from the blockchain side, from the software development side, from the consumer side maybe. And I decided to develop tools and write a few how-tos on the security, on how the accounts work, on how the XRP ledger work. Made it all open source. It's all on my GitHub. I believe around 40 Ripple-related, XRP-related repositories. You can all check them out, clone them, whatever. I created a few Docker images to make it even easier to run your own RippleD server. So let's say you don't want to connect to the public S1 or S2 servers from Ripple, but you want to run your own RippleD node. More on that later as well. A few NPM repositories, so if you know how to code JavaScript, you can just use one of the repositories, one of the NPM packages, and start coding on the XRP ledger in a few lines of code. And I decided to contribute some things to the community, and then I made the XRP tipbot and the ledger.exposed website. Just projects for fun, but then they took off. So that was, the XRP tipbot is centralized. It's funny, it's just one hot wallet. I control the hot wallet. The key is in the software somewhere. And people can deposit XRP, takes 4 seconds. It's a blockchain interaction, and they can withdraw 4 seconds again. Blockchain interaction, but everything what happens in the XRP tipbot is centralized, but it will monitor Twitter, Discord, and Reddit. And if you mention the tipbot with an amount of XRP, the XRP will transfer from your account to the account of the user you're replying at or sending the message to. I have a screenshot, I believe, over here, yeah. This is a screenshot from the tipbot, I believe. Right now, there are about 160,000 tips sent from one to another. And Ledger exposed a website. I decided to download every 5 or 10 minutes the entire blockchain, the updated blockchain, put it into a MongoDB instance, and run aggregated queries on all accounts and all the funds in accounts. And so you can look up where XRP came from and went to for a specific account. You can see how much XRP is in the top 100 accounts, etc. And it's updated almost live. I believe 160,000 unique visits a month. It's crazy.
How big is it?
Sorry? The database. Well, I believe a few hundred megabytes, but it's because I aggregate all the data and then put it in the MongoDB instance. It's somewhere in the next sheets as well. Here you can see, this is one more screenshot. You can follow how much XRP is in the, let's say, top 100 accounts. The entire XRP ledger at this moment is around 8 terabytes. Yeah, it's not for your home computer to be downloaded, but there's something funny about RippleD. I'll get back at it. So I'm going to talk a bit more about the infrastructure. So that's RippleD, that's the server. It runs on Linux. And about the XRP ledger features, and then especially a few transaction types. We all know blockchain for sending value, a token. We know some blockchains that allow you to write smart contracts. But actually the XRP ledger supports a lot of stuff that's coded into smart contracts when using other blockchains native on the XRP ledger. And I'm going to show you a few transaction types that are native on the XRP ledger that would require a smart contract on any other blockchain. The infrastructure. So we don't have, there are no miners, we have validators on the XRP ledger. These are servers that are on a unique node list. So this is a list of validators trusting each other. And there's a unique node list by Ripple that specifies, that lists the validators from Ripple. And since a few weeks, a few validators from other companies, third parties, which is great. So it starts to decentralize even the validation of transactions. And these validators receive all the transactions from the network, no matter the RippleD server you send it to. So you send your transaction using the WebSocket to a RippleD server. This RippleD server connects to all the other pairs and nodes in the network, and they will all share the transactions until they reach validators, and they will start validating until they have consensus on the transactions that will be in the next block every 4 seconds. So they vote on transactions and they order the transactions. Oh no, sorry, they order the transactions, and if the transaction is okay, it will be in the next block, and they vote on new features on the XRP ledger. So there are a few features already on the testnet, but not yet live on the live XRP ledger, because validators, or the operators of the validators, need to vote if they allow this new feature, this amendment, to go live. There's one I'm waiting for. I will rewrite the entire XRP tipbot to a decentralized platform without a hot wallet. So there's actually a video about how these validators work. I'm going to share the link, or maybe if we have time left, I can show it. It's a video from Ripple from 5 years ago. It's really lovely to see they have a channel on Vimeo still with all kinds of old videos. That's nice. And then the infrastructure, so I talked about the validators, the UNL consensus, and then there are nodes. And nodes and validators are both RippleD, both the RippleD server, open source on the GitHub from Ripple, by the way. They're the same package, but with different configuration. So the nodes, they are the servers you can connect to using either HTTP RPC, so just sending data, posting or getting data from a URL, using WebSockets, so streaming live, and they expose the blockchain in public. And I told you about the 8 terabytes required for running a full history server. Here's the great thing: you don't need to sync full history to run a node. You can just run a node on your computer, laptop, whatever. You can just use the package provided by Ripple or use my Docker container, and it will catch up with the latest blocks and then work its way back to, let's say, 265 ledgers. And then while it fetches new blocks every 4 seconds, it will purge the old ones. So you don't need a lot of space on your computer to run your own RippleD node, and you don't have to depend on one of the public Ripple servers that may be excessively used when everyone's buying or dumping or whatever. So, another question today?
The nodes, the amount of data so big.
Sorry?
For example, if you compare to Bitcoin, the total transaction history is like 60 gigabyte, I believe, or something.
Well, the ledgers are closing every 4 seconds.
But are there so many transactions?
There are a lot of transactions, and I'm going to show you with a live demonstration of code. There are a lot of transactions, and the reason why you might think, well, Ripple, XRP, Ledger compared to Bitcoin, why would it have that much transactions? I mean, banks are maybe not even using it already. So, but there are a few transaction types native on the XRP ledger that actually are being used a lot. So the other question about the amount of disk space required to run a RippleD node? IDs? Guesses?
This was only 265 transactions, or 265 blocks? Or?
Yeah, let's say 265 blocks. No one? Okay, a little bit more. We need to think about the infrastructure, the RippleD package as well. So, yeah. So here we go. Docker image, bare Ubuntu Docker image with the RippleD package, 488 megabytes. Ledger history, 200. Well, sometimes a bit more. The garbage collection may be a bit behind, but 1.7 gigabytes at a maximum. So that brings us to a total of 2.3 gigabytes. I tested it before the presentation, by the way, and it was 700 megabytes instead of 1.7 gigabytes. Maybe it was busy when I got this number. And you need SSD storage because it will read and write a lot. So full history, 8 terabytes. And to run your own RippleD server, which isn't required if you want to write a piece of JavaScript code, because you can just connect to one of the public RippleD nodes, or mine. I have a full history server running in a data center. No one uses it. It's really fast. You can just run a Docker container. We will name it RippleD. We will expose HTTP on our local host on port 8080. And we will mount a volume with 2 config files. The configuration will tell RippleD it has to be a node, not a validator. And we're using the package XRP tibot/RippleD, which is the Docker image. I'm going to run it, and so it can sync, and we can use it in a few seconds when we do a bit of coding. Let's see. Oh, let's drag this over here. So it's running. And this is every 2 seconds the output of the server info from our local RippleD. It's actually a lot more information. Let's see. Let's get rid of almost everything over here. So this is it. We request server info from a Ripple node, and it will tell us the amount of pairs it's connected to, and the latency, etc., the most recent ledger. And here's complete ledgers, and it's empty. So at this moment, the server is still getting up to speed. It's fetching ledgers from it's connecting to other pairs, it's fetching ledgers, and there are no complete ledgers, and this will change within a few minutes. I'm going to continue with the presentation. So in a few minutes, if our local RippleD node that's actually syncing over 4G, the Vodafone network, I don't know what the bill will be, we can connect to our own local host at port 8080 in a few seconds with the code I shared earlier in the presentation, where it connected to s1.ripple.com, the Ripple public server. So while the RippleD node is syncing, some of the XRP ledger features. One thing that makes it really, it's not a feature per se, but makes it different from a lot of other blockchains. We're almost thinking about time. Yeah. There's an account reserve. You need to deposit 20 XRP for your wallet, for your account to become active, and you can't withdraw the 20 XRP. So there aren't a lot of once used, now unused wallets. People will stick to their wallet. And now when you look at different transaction types, instead of just a payment, sending value from A to B, there's the decentralized exchange feature. So you can send offers on the XRP ledger and exchange tokens based on these offers. There are payment channels for streaming payments that settle later. There's the escrow functionality, so you can send a transaction where you lock up a certain amount of money for some time, or even use conditions, crypto conditions, where the recipient needs to know the answer for the condition to be able to release the escrow funds. There's multisig, so you can set up multi-signing on your native XRP Ledger account where you say, there's a list of signers, I need a quorum of 10, and there are 5 people that are able to sign. 2 of them have a quorum of 5, so they can sign together, and the other 3 have, let's say, all 10, so they can sign individually. And you can make all kinds of combinations to allow a group of people together to sign a transaction, but never someone alone. It's a great feature, not used in wallets or whatever. There's the account set transaction to set settings on your account, on your wallet. And there are checks, and they are not live yet. It's an amendment, validators still need to vote. And this is a feature I would really love to go live, because it's like in real life, a check. I write you a piece of paper where I say you can get a maximum of, let's say, 100 XRP from me until that time. And then it's pre-signed, and you can claim up to that amount within the time frame. Maybe 3 minutes left?
Yeah, okay, we can do 3 minutes.
3 minutes? Okay, I'm going to show you a few of the transactions. It's actually, this is just a regular payment from my account, RF whatever, to another account, RA whatever, an amount in drops, a millionth of an XRP. It's actually a string, not a number, to prevent rounding errors from happening. So it's the smallest amount as a string. The fee will be burned, not go to the party hosting the validator or the node. So the amount of XRP will decrease over time. There's the sequence. Every time I send a transaction with my account, it will increment with 1. So this prevents me sending the same transactions to do 2 different nodes, because I have to use the next sequence number for my account. 1 will be processed first. And I can send memos, so hexadecimal encoded text or images or whatever. Decentralized exchange, same type of transaction. I can send it as a payment or an offer. I'm going to skip the stuff on the left. And I can say I'm going to send from my account to the other account, not XRP, but USD. USD issued by another account that I trust, that we both trust. It's really interesting. And there's a lot of stuff happening on the XRP ledger on the decentralized exchange. Payment channels, I'm going to skip this one. Escrow, you say I'm going to create an escrow for this amount to that wallet, and it's going either to be cancelled after or finished after a certain amount. And you can leave one of them out. So, of course, if you want to lock up the money, you're going to skip the cancel. This is not that interesting. Well, here's a memo. I sent a transaction on the XRP ledger with an escrow for 13 years from the 1st of December. My first child will be born the 1st of December, around 1st of December. Hopefully everything okay. And then 13 years later, the kid will receive 1,000 XRP. It can be claimed before 13 years from the 1st of December. And I added a memo to it. It's on the XRP ledger, it's on the blockchain, can never remove it again, with the congratulations. I published the source code to do this as well, so I'll share the links later. Multi-signing, so there's a signer list, and then at your transaction you need to create a signature for each signer signing. And the account set, it's to set flags on your account, so or specify your domain or whatever, just public information you want to share. or a flag like require destination tag. It's a way. It's like an invoice number. You can set an invoice number on an account, so the receiving party knows what the payment is for, and you can set a flag on your XRP account on your wallet that people need to use the destination tag. Otherwise, the transaction will be rejected even before being processed. And checks. Well, told about it, and I don't think we have time for the demo. So I'm
regarding time, I want to close up. Do you have any final remarks or suggestions for people?
Well, if you know how to code JavaScript, give it a shot. Give it a few minutes. It's really fun.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm Annie, and
Allard.
This is Allard, and we are the proud organizers of the Meetup in Eindhoven about blockchain. So the question is, why are we interested in blockchain? Why are we organizing it?
Yeah.
Why, Allard?
Well, it's a good question. Well, because this blockchain is a new technology and it's very incomprehensible for people. It's complex, it's difficult, but it's something that is going to be a big wave in our society. It's going to be important. And in Eindhoven, while we call it Brainport, there's actually not a lot of places where people meet up and exchange thoughts about it. So that's what we're doing here.
But yeah, we want to kind of create a platform, a place where people can always come and share knowledge, exchange ideas, learn more about blockchain, and also teach us about blockchain and how can this new technology change our lives.
So this was the 4th meetup. Thank you all for joining. We had a very nice set of speakers. We saw some energy, and we're looking forward to the 5th, 6th, and 100th meetup we'll do in Eindhoven. So.
See you next time.
Yeah.